Remember, in this chapter we're working with systems of equations, so to solve problems like this we are going to have two equations with two unknown pieces of information, and our solution down here at the end is going to be a sentence explaining the solution, or what the value of our two unknown pieces of information are for the given information. In this problem it says that a shoe store sold 9 pairs of shoes, and our total amount we collected was $1,230. Those are two big pieces of information that we're going to use to set up our equations. As we look on, it says that they sold Nike Hyperdunks for $130 per pair, and then Air Jordans for $150 per pair. They want to know how many of each did they sell. That last question is almost always going to give us what the variables in the situation are. When they say each, they're talking about the type of shoe. So we can go ahead and when it says let, we're labeling our variables and we're really defining them. So we're going to say H equals the number of Hyperdunks sold, and J is going to equal the number of Jordans sold. Okay. Once we have that, now we want to work on setting up our two equations. That's going to come from our given information up at the top. When it says that the store sold 9 pairs of shoes, we know that in total they sold 9 pairs of shoes, and that's between Hyperdunks and Air Jordans. That tells me that when I add the number of Hyperdunks sold plus the number of Jordans sold, I'm going to have sold 9 shoes. The second part comes from the total amount that we collected. So we know we're going to set this equation equal to 1,230. And we have to match up the price of each shoe. So it was $130 per pair of Hyperdunks. So 130 times H plus $150 per pair of Air Jordans. That makes it 150J. Now that we have our two equations, we can go ahead and start filling in our table. At times we will fill in part of this for you. Right here I have this filled in. That's always going to be your second equation here, the equation that's with our multiplication. Okay. Sometimes we will give you numbers in this column. You'll have to figure out the numbers for this column. Sometimes we won't give you any of it. But in most of the problems that we're going to be dealing with, our focus for these two columns is going to be to make equation 1 true. Okay, so in order to make this equation true in this situation, if this were 0 for Hyperdunks, in order to make me have sold 9 shoes, I must have sold 9 Jordans. 0 plus 9 would equal 9. That gives me a true statement for equation 1. Remember, I need both equations to be true for this to be a solution. If I've sold 1 Hyperdunk, that means I know I've sold 8 Jordans. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 plus 7 is 9, and so on. And we can fill in the rest of our table that way. Now that we know all of these work for equation 1, we have to figure out which one of these works and sets equation 2 equal to 1,230, gives me a true statement for equation 2. To do that, we use substitution. I'm going to take 0 and substitute in for H, so I have 130 times 0 plus 150 times, I substitute 9 in for J, and I run the calculation. Go ahead and take your calculator out and calculate that now. Okay, our calculation here should give us $1,350. I can look right away and see that that's not equal to $1,230. So I know right away, while this does make equation 1 true, it does not make equation true 2. So this is not a solution to the system of equations. It's only a solution to equation 1. Then I move on and I check my next ordered pair. Check it the same way. 130 times h, which is 1, plus 150 times j, which is 8. I run that calculation through. I get $1,330, which is still not equal to $1,230, making this not a solution. Now, I want you to go ahead and check the rest of these and figure out which one is a solution. Make sure you check all of them to make sure you haven't made a mistake. Go ahead and hit pause now. When you come back and hit play, we'll go through the steps and we'll put the solution up. So, you should have made all of your calculations by now, and as we go through and we look, there is only one ordered pair that works to solve both equation 1 and equation 2, and that's this ordered pair here, 6, 3. The last step then would be to write our sentence as our solution. It doesn't have to be elaborate, we just want to state that this store sold 6, and that's in our column for H, which is the number of hyperdunks sold. So 6 hyperdunks. And 3 is for J, which is the number of Jordans. 3 pairs of Air Jordans. Make sure that you have gone through and you have checked all of those ordered pairs. Check your work. You must write your work statements here, your solutions here. This is the only one where it equals 1230. We know all of these make equation 1 true, but only one of them makes both equation 1 and equation 2 true.